Welcome back to the program, folks. It's John Pollock here alongside Robin Black, and we are chatting about UFC 189, which is coming up this Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on pay-per-view. And we've got a bantamweight fight to chat about as the undefeated Thomas Almeida is going to be mating this man who is returning to 135 pounds this Saturday night. He is Brad One Punch Pickett. And Brad, as a man that grew up in England, how nasty is the weather in Las Vegas right now? Is it just like gross hot at this particular time?
It's not too bad. I kind of climatized a little bit because obviously I've been out in Florida for 7 weeks before coming here, so it's not too bad for me. But my coach is phoning in, Mickey Pappas is phoning in from England. He's struggling a little bit with the humidity.
I can imagine. How are you feeling fight week at this point, and the decision going back to 135 pounds for you? I'm sure flyweight, a tough cut for a guy that's fought as high as 155.
Yeah, the cut was hard, don't get me wrong, but it's mainly the styles of fights down at flyweight didn't really suit me. I was chasing guys the whole time trying to get a fight, so yeah, more the styles didn't suit me. Don't get me wrong, weight cutting was hard. Training for flyweight, I was more about losing weight rather than getting better, where going back to bantamweight, I've been able to not concentrate on my cardio as such, and I go running every 2 seconds. Work on technique and developing still.
Brad, Robin Black here. You mentioned at flyweight that you had to chase these guys, and that is that flyweight game, eh? Playing on the outside track and blitzing in, getting out, and running, kind of. Whereas this kid that you're facing, it's just a question of close distance, slip a few of his punches, and put one on his chin, right? It's a more fun game to play at 135.
100%. I'm not going to find it hard to find him inside the octagon. He's going to stand there right in front of me, and it's all about slipping and ripping. I'm going to start there my control sort of chaos style and try and land one of my bombs and stuff. What kind of I like about the matchup as well? He's a taller guy, which I like. With my loopier punches, I like fighting taller guys. But also, he has good range on him, but he doesn't use his range very well. He actually fights inside as well, quite close. So for me, that's where I thrive. I like to fight inside. If I could fight inside a telephone box, I would. That's why I like fighting, and I think he complements my style very well.
I agree. It's weird that these odds makers maybe don't watch a lot of fighting, but he doesn't seem to move his feet in really dynamic ways either. You're absolutely right. He pushes forward. If you make a miss on that first jab, your overhand right and your left hook are kind of sitting right there. It's just, it lines up really nicely for you.
It definitely does. Don't get me wrong, I do believe he's very dangerous as well because he has very good striking. But I just think styles make fights, and as for the odds and all that stuff, it's not a mass test, so I don't get how they, it's just two dudes, whatever, there's never been a sport where the underdog wins more than this, because the odds never take in fact, your chin, your desire, your passion, so I think just because they're looking at him being 18-0 and me losing my last two, but if you watch those two fights, it's me chasing the guy, trying to get someone to fight. Styles make fights, and I think I'm actually really quite happy being an underdog. It's the first time I think I've been an underdog in the UFC, and I'm going to thrive on it. It'd be really nice to go, hey, mofos, I'm still here. Don't count me out yet.
What was part of the thought process, Brad, of going down to flyweight? It's not full of contenders necessarily, and you own a victory over Demetrius Johnson. Was part of the thinking that, man, if I can string together 2 wins together at 125, I could be right there on the doorstep, and there's the built-in story of a rematch with DJ at 125.
That was 100% the decision for me. I remember my last fight at bantamweight was against Michael McDonald. It was a bit of a whirlwind of a fight as well, if you watched that one.
Yeah.
And after I got beaten, I got married. And I remember being on my honeymoon with my wife, and I was just thinking to myself, I kind of want to change things up. I was ranked number 5 at bantamweight at the time, and I thought, you know what, I think I could maybe go down a weight class. And, I never wanted to be that woulda, shoulda, coulda guy. a guy who says shoulda or coulda has never done anything. You know, I'd rather I tried it and it didn't work out for me. You know, and so, I mean, just looking back at my career, I wanted to try everything I possibly could to get a title shot. You know, or even be the be the best guy in the world. That was my goal. You know, so that was my sole reason going down to 125. Just a complete, you know, business move.
And
going down to that weight class, the stars didn't suit me whatsoever. They were too quick. It's more of a point scoring sort of system. You know, they find a way of beating me over 15 minutes. Where if I was being my old-fashioned sort of caveman self, and I said, you locked me in a room with any of those guys, and you gave one of us the key to come out, and no time limit, I'd be coming out of that room every time. You know, it's just within 15 minutes, they find a way of beating me.
I think Brad Pickett has a potential promotional idea post-fight career. I mean, you could just set up shop in England, and it's like two guys go into a room with a key, and one guy comes out. I think the Pickett Fighting Championship out of England.
He's going to win it every time.
If I want to compete in it, it could be like older people. So it could be like Age Rage or something like that. You know?
Age Rage.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. Brad, you have a lot of fun. Actually, I saw you backstage when Amasinger and I think a couple of your guys were fighting at Casino Rama just outside of Toronto. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Jason Young. Yeah, Jason Young was fighting there.
That's right.
I think Ross Pearson was there as well.
Yeah, and you backstage, you spent the whole time trying to make those guys laugh. There was a lot of mooning and some testicles were out. It was some ridiculous stuff. Is that how you get ready for a fight too, joking around and laughing and stuff? Or was that just to lighten it for them?
Yeah, for me, obviously fighting for me is a job, but you know, no matter what job I did, I'd always have to have a laugh. Don't get me wrong, it's a serious business when I'm inside the octagon, but outside, life's too short, you know, and I'm the same person no matter what I do. And when I fight, I do get some people have that big attitude, want to go in there. I mean, that's not me. I never fight because I hate what's in front of me. I fight because I love what's behind me. You know, I fight for my family, my friends, and that sort of stuff out of pride and honor. You know, so it's a complete different thing. I never fight because I dislike the guy. You know, so I've never ever have any animosity towards the guy. So yeah, that's the reason why I fight. So outside of fighting, I like to lark and play around. So that's what I do no matter what job I do.
Well, Brad, we're very much looking forward to it. It is Brad Pickett, Thomas Almeida this Saturday night, UFC 189. Prelims are at 8 Eastern, and then the pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Brad, pleasure to have you on the show. All the best going into the weigh-ins Friday and the fight on Saturday night. We'll be watching.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.